Curator's walkthrough is starting now, and we have Hilda Chan from Hong Kong that is doing a live talk. Hilda?
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. So we will go to number 1, which is Ivy's work.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can start talking.
Okay, well, thanks for joining the walkthrough. So it's my pleasure to be able to create a show, even though I cannot be here. But you can see that we have the whole team has put a lot of work in it, and really happy the Hong Kong artists can join during this pandemic at a difficult time. Yeah, so. Otherworlds makes
nearer to the audience.
And then you have four artists in Singapore. Exactly the same artwork. We also see our component online show as well. So what I would see Ivy's work. So Ivy doing her work called The Unknown Garden. So Garden is a type, and the work is the connection between Hong Kong and Singapore. Now we see that there are some plants, so they are actually drawings of the interpretation of the plants. The plants that were exchanged between Hong Kong and Singapore at the early 20th century. So this is her own interpretation, and at the same time she also animated it. So like there is an animated version of these plants. And so what she did is like she went to the archive, and then she found out there was actually a lot of change going on during the colonial times between Hong Kong and Singapore. So I thought that this work is a nice introduction to the concept and the ongoing exchange between instinct and ultramodernists, which we also did an exhibition a few years ago in Hong Kong, also at a historical park. So I feel that there's a really strong connection between us. And actually, Ivy, she is also doing a live drawing of plants. So so her practice has been drawing, and then this is the first time ever she has experimented with animation. So to her, VR and online is like a totally new land. It's like the plants and seeds are traveling all the way from Hong Kong to Singapore, but this time from a physical location to an online site. Yeah.
Let's move on to the Gabriel's work.
So here we see that Gabriel's work. The work is called Gradient Nations as Synchronized Uncertainty. So this is a sample of a lot of the artworks this time. The artists are responding to the new realities, the uncertainty they face because of the pandemic. And so for his work is you see the gradient of images is actually taken from the pixels of images taken before the pandemic, where crowds can still be gathered. So now, it is becoming a really rare scene. And also, there's like an audio component to it. So if you move from one side to the other, from the left to right, so you see that the more orderly sound, the footsteps will translate into something more chaotic. So he is also trying to say that at this time, the reality is very difficult to differentiate from the unreal one. So people are also struggling to take side and to stay true to their identity. And Gabriel also does an online version, so it is quite similar to this setup, but then he plays even more with the light and sound in that version too.
Okay, let's move on to the next artist, Elaine. Elaine's work.
Okay, so now we are moving to the other side of the space. So as we move deeper, the space becomes darker. So Elaine's work is the name is called "Is It the Time?" So this is actually a replication of the artist's home space in Hong Kong. So now being presented in Singapore is like she wants to say that since we need to be always connected because of the pandemic, we use a lot of online communication. Is difficult to differentiate personal spaces and privacy, and then so. For her, is like this work is actually divided into two sections, and then because this is part one, so when we eventually move out from the exhibition space, we will able to see part two, where she is trying to perform some audio conference in audio conference setting of people saying goodbye, because now it's like even though we say goodbye, we are still connected online. So this is what she's trying to say through this one.
Okay, let's move on to Debbie.
Yeah.
Debbie's work. Here.
Yeah, so Debbie's work, its name is called Void. It's actually a dream world between the void decks, and then trying to explore something from home between the cracks of the game. So in this version, we will see that the audiences are swimming through the sea at night. There are actually 3D scans of the ruins of the HDB void decks. So I think she is trying to question ruins of the present and then the future, and then how we look at our reality. And also the resolution, she said, is intentionally lowered. So in a way, is that she gives a gateway to glaze into another world. And then since at her early game and file ones that she made earlier, and she sometimes make accidental steps through, and then because sometimes there's like a void in the game, and then she's amazed that a lot of the players and then the viewers really enjoy playing and falling in the cracks of the game. So in this, she is trying to extend that idea as well. Yeah. And also, if you have time, you should experiment and play the game in the VR cave, because I think it is a very beautifully made game, and then you can kind of walk through and being immersed in this world.
Okay, let's move on to Ulrich's work.
Yeah, so Ulrich's work is called Three Domes Simulacra 1.0. So this is Ulrich's ongoing series of his artwork called Three Domes, where he features the iconic dome features of the three Singapore museums, so which is the Singapore Art Museum, National Museum of Singapore, and the National Gallery Singapore. And then he is also responds to the physical memories, and then making a commentary on the Singapore cultural landscape. And this time he made a 3D scan, a 3D rendering of the museum. So what you see on the desk are his interpretation of the three museums. So they are like the three domes, but actually he made his own. And in this work, he made a journey around the three museums at the city district. And then the journey for him is around 4.5 kilometers. So on the desk, you can also see images taken while he is undergoing this trip of the three museums. So in the VR cave, you can also take this journey. So you can walk through the three museums under the same routes taken by the artist.
Okay, then my works.
Yep. So So Xin Yun's work, she has been exploring painting with digitally medium. So this time she created this new work called Mind A Painting Machine. The painting is actually taken from Xin Yun's own brain data and then translate into painting. The brainwave is pre-recorded, and then actually, if you are lucky, some of you might be able to also record your brainwave and then project it in the image as well. So this work is made during the pandemic, and she kind of tries to record her state of mind during this really chaotic time. Yeah, and also she had this setup kind of resemble a lab and a doctor's lab, like a very formal setting of a lab. Yeah. Shini, do you have anything to add on yourself?
Not really.
Not really.
Let's
Okay.
move on to Sui Feng's work.
Yeah.
A bit loud.
So Sui Feng, her work is called Avatar. So this is an audio installation. So her work is divided into 3 sections. So first, the viewers will enter a meditative sound space. And then the second section is like a room with where you can practice the movements of the video. And then lastly, the third section, it is actually a projection of the VR cave, the same images. So the audience can know the outcome of the practice. So for her, this work is about to explore the nature of companionship, where in 2020, since the pandemic, people are required to become isolated. So I think for her, this work is try to explore, even though if we are separated, we can still maintain and heal our relationships. So also the avatar is also a replica of our own identity. It is part of us, but at the same time, it is not us. So it is like a symbolic meaning that we are here to confront each other, even though we have a lot of similarities and differences. We are still here to learn how to struggle, to cope with each other and manage the relationship. Yeah.
Okay, then we move on to the last artist, Yo Wee Wee.
Okay. Should we do Elaine first or do Wee Wee first?
Up to you.
Okay, we do Elaine first.
Okay.
So this is the second part of Elaine's work. It's called Is It the Time? So this part is a video conference. They are all Elaine. So which means that she wants to say that we are all connected at each time, and then each of the video, Elaine is saying goodbye in different ways. So she has been talking to different people, and then other people, they have contributed the ways of saying goodbye so they can be more poetic. So so these days, so she's saying that even though we are all connected, we have been surrounded by the screens all the time. Yeah.
Okay, then the last artist, Yo Wee Wee.
Okay, so Wee's work is called The Intersection of Worlds and the Unbreakable Bond. So it is quite poetic. So it is about the physical and intangibility, and then how we are separated and yet we are connected between worlds. So here we see that there are blocks. So the blocks, they all have like images like embedded in them. And then because this is inspired by her own experience when she go to tomb sweeping each year, where she touch up the characters on her grandma's tomb. So this physical space is actually a representation of her grandma's world. And because on the text on the blogs are actually like kind of taken and inspired by text and communication in different cultures, and for her, kind of navigating the worlds of translation, different texts and meaning. Yeah, and then so the online version, she did something really different. It's like you can still see these blogs online, but these blogs can translate into something really different. They translate into butterflies, which are really light, and then has a really strong contrast between these heavy and very physical blocks. Yeah, so this is the work of Vivi.
Okay. So that's kind of all the works, but maybe Hilda, can you share with us what's your experience of curating a show remotely, that you can't be here, and seeing that you actually curated a show in Singapore? Can you share with the audience?
Yep. This is actually my first time ever to create a show in Singapore, and my first show created entirely online. So I think it also kind of plays with the concept of other worlds, right? So we are I'm in other worlds, but then things happens at the other side of the world. I think the challenges is like I cannot really able to meet the artists personally, especially for those in Singapore. But then I think technology really helps. I can meet and Zoom with them if I have any question. So I think what we are trying to say in this exhibition is like how we can use technology, with the help of technology, and to add new meanings to viewing experience, and then how we can generate new ideas with the help of technology. So I hope that this show can bring us some new experience, at the same time answer some questions we might have in terms of how we can move forward if the situation persists, if it is no longer as easy to fly over and doing physical exchange.
Okay.